Welcome to the 5 steps for starting your own Mama Circle. I'm super excited to share all that I have learned over the years as far as the do's and don'ts and pros and cons of different ways to go about sharing prenatal yoga in our communities. First, I just wanted to thank you for having the desire in this crazy world that we are living in right now with so many, challenges. Sorry, I'm going to spotlight myself here. I think that it is important to just do something meaningful. At least that's what I've decided for my life, is like, I can't fix all the problems, but what I can do is, every day have something in my life that makes me feel like I'm helping to make the world a better place. So that's really ultimately why I do what I do. And this, you could work in so many different spheres, right? But you're drawn to this maybe because you had prenatal yoga for yourself and you just saw just how useful it was. Maybe you didn't have it. You didn't have the kind of support that you felt like you needed or would have loved to have, and you want to make sure other people have that. Whatever's drawing you, thank you. It is a bigger problem than ever. The situation that we have, at least in the US, and most modernized westernized countries, because traditionally, I think that the phrase "it takes a village" came from this. I don't know, but it most definitely illustrates that traditionally we did not do this process alone. We lived with family members who showed us about breastfeeding and were there to hold our hand during labor and to help us prepare. We don't have that, and it may be connected to the fact that 45% of women report that their births were traumatic. 1 in 7 women experience depression in the year after their baby was born. And Black women are 27% more likely to experience severe postpartum depression and other complications, but that's the number one. And Black and Native American women are 2 to 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes. Also, we are finding that anxiety is surpassing postpartum depression. And also we know that postpartum depression is misnamed, that in fact, a greater number of women experience depression before and or after than just after. So it can happen anytime within the 18 months around birth. So by offering a Mama Circle, we're not just protecting people, because what does yoga do? Well, of course, it reduces stress. We know that, i.e. Western studies, dozens and dozens, probably hundreds, maybe thousands have established that. And we know that stress is the #1 risk factor for negative outcomes, birth outcomes. But we also know that having a support network reduces depression and anxiety. We know that slowing down will help reduce anxiety. And we are also providing tools, practices, principles that people can use to learn how to take care of themselves when they're not in class, right? So all of these things, the idea of Ma, right? The syllable Ma in just about every language means mother. And in Sanskrit, it also means the highest, most powerful, most wise. So when we learn to mother ourselves, that's when we really step into that higher self. And that's what we're doing, kind of being at the doorway, right? Saying welcome for women who are in the transition to motherhood. So, okay, so I'm going to give you the 5 steps, and I'm just going to say what they are first, so you know what's coming, and then I'm going to go in detail into what it all means. So, first step is to get trained. Notice I'm not saying the first step is to get certified, because you don't need to be certified. Second step is to identify your location. Third step is to sign an agreement with your host. Fourth step is to make your schedule and signing up available to people. Notice I did not say you have to have a brilliant, beautiful website. There's many ways to do this. And fifth is to share who you are and what you're doing with the world forever. So that is not going to end just when you start. That's the thing you keep doing, but we'll talk about that. Okay. So step 1 is training. So what training do you need? My recommendation is that you have more than do's and don'ts. You have more than maybe what you learned in your 200 hour, that you take a training that will not only give you, here's how you adjust triangle pose for the 2nd trimester and the 3rd trimester, right? Here are the poses to avoid. Like, you want more than that. That's really good if you're pregnant and you want to know how to practice. If you want to know how to teach, my recommendation is you need to know principles to follow. What does that mean? A principle is something that is always true, right? So gravity pulls. It is never not going to be true. You can always count on it. There are principles that are always true about what we're doing as prenatal teachers that you want to know. Why? Because that's going to help you feel confident in what you're doing, be able to see someone in the street and be like, oh my God, I teach prenatal. Do you want to come? Here's my card. You can't really do that unless you know what you're doing, but it doesn't take that much. For instance, one of the 5 that we teach is make space for baby. This is the underlying foundational principle. If you know this, you can know whether a pose is a prenatal pose or not. Is it making space for baby? And how can I adjust it to make space for baby, right? So in terms of the Ma Yoga trainings, it's the yoga of pregnancy and postpartum that you need to take before teaching. It's a 3-week live course. It's also, you can do it self-paced, you can do it both. So as soon as you register, you have access, and then you can also come live. But this is going to teach you the 5 principles that I feel every prenatal yoga teacher needs to know. Once you do this, you can make up poses. You can, do stuff on the fly. You can have a plan, throw it away, do something else because you don't feel like it, or because somebody said something in class like, my back hurts. And so you're going to change everything because you know how to help them, right? Okay. So that's training. Now, well, then why do I offer other trainings if that's all you need? For me, I wanted to create the Harvard of prenatal trainings. I wanted my yoga certified teachers to be experts, right? So you can be a prenatal teacher and then you can be an expert in, women's wellness for the childbearing years. So I do encourage you and recommend you to keep going while you're teaching, right? So the Prenatal 2, which is how to help people with their aches and pains and prevent postpartum issues and help heal postpartum issues. And then there's Ma Ayurveda, which is off the mat, self-care, daily rhythm, and food as medicine. And then there's the Yoga of Birth, which is yoga for labor and also what you're preparing them for. And then we also do a mentorship. So I highly recommend the whole certification program. But since this is about what do you need for your mama circle, you can start after the yoga of pregnancy. Most people in the certification program wait. They do the yoga of pregnancy and the yoga of healing. Then there's the mentorship where you actually get help starting, creating your first class. You get feedback on it, and then you do it again. So most people after the mentorship feel super ready and confident. But up to you, because the truth is, it's yoga. I mean, yes, Yoga Alliance is set up to say, like, you can teach and you can, and you have the certain letters after your name and you don't, but there's no laws that say you have to have any particular letters. And I want to keep yoga, which means it's a personal journey of self-exploration, of understanding who we are and what's possible for us. And so if we take it out of all the structure and the rules and all that stuff, you just got to look within and be like, do I feel ready? Now, the answer is probably always going to be no. Not right now. I'm really busy. Let me just wait until this, or, I don't have what it takes, or I just need another training, right? So what you're listening for isn't necessarily a clear answer, it's desire. If you feel excited and nervous, right, but excited about this idea of like starting your class, to me, that's how that inner wisdom expresses itself about our next step. You're never going to be done. But if you have a few more things to share, then if you know a few more things than your students, you're doing great and you can be their teacher. So when I first started teaching in 2000, I literally went to class, scheduled my weekly class with my two best friends at their house the next day. I came and I did everything that the teacher did. I just basically said everything she said. And they would say, oh, you're such a good teacher. And I would feel like total like fraud, but that's okay, because I was learning. That's how we learn, right? You just got to start. Okay. That's about it. If you want more information about the yoga of pregnancy, go to prenatalteachertraining.com. Number 2, identify your location. Prenatal yoga teaching, I have to say, does not necessarily make you rich, and teaching a class, no matter how successful it will be, is not enough to make a living. It is something we want to think of as adding into our offerings. And I think of it as part of a business funnel. If you think of a funnel, the open end is like where people find you, right? And it's super easy to hop in. They can take a free class with you online. Maybe they can go to your website and download something, whatever it is. They see a flyer, they're in your funnel. As the funnel narrows, they are paying more to get more and more of your awesomeness. So they might then, after they took their free class, pay for a series. After that, they might pay for a 3-session package with you to learn meditation, or to learn how to prepare for labor, or to learn postpartum routines, any of the other things that come from your expertise and your experience, right? So that's how it narrows. You may even want to think about that very, very bottom of the funnel as having a VIP offering. Now, this is something that I'm not even really doing. I mean, I do have a $1,500 offering, but I had a teacher once, like a business coach kind of person, who got paid $15,000 to do a day with someone. And I remember when she had just done a day of skiing with someone. So this person just wanted to be around her energy and ski with her. For some people, $15,000 is a purse, So we have to remember that at least make it available in your mind, maybe even list it out on your website, make it available in your heart, in your awareness that's out there. Okay. So that said, we want to make it work for our life. I see teaching prenatal yoga as an extension of my practice, right? I show up, I'm in my little happy place. This is my yoga office. I practice here. I teach here. There isn't that much different. I do these chats here. I just hop in, and sometimes people are there to practice with me, right? And sometimes they're not. So if you can try to create that wonderful experience in person, but as easy as it can be, it's just going to work better. So looking around for a space, you want to start close to your house and maybe do concentric circles, or maybe close to your work. That works too. Somewhere where you are a lot. And what you're looking for are small businesses that cater to pregnant women and new moms, businesses that would benefit from having pregnant women walk through their door, right? Because any business is going to kind of ask you, well, what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for them is free marketing. Every business wants people to know about their offerings and their services. Well, you're going to have people who are finding you, coming to your class, and then learning about that location. You'll even put their services on your website. And if you do a Ma Yoga class, which, we help you kind of through the process, setting it up, and you can use our booking and buying software and stuff. If we do that, we have a whole, section of a page dedicated to them. So either way, you're looking for a business that will benefit from offering prenatal yoga. Maybe it's a toddler music class, right? Could be any postpartum thing. Maybe it's a OBGYN office. Maybe it is a boutique. Maybe it's a birth center. Those are some really good ones. We've done it in waiting rooms. We've done it in hallways. Chiropractors' offices. Okay. Google is your friend. Start Googling those things, women's wellness, chiropractor, definitely. Like, I remember this one teacher had been looking for a location for so long in Pasadena, California, and she just hadn't found anything for like a year. And I just felt so bad. And I think I'd looked before, but I just hopped on and I said, and I just tried all these different things. And I think I entered, family, God, what was it? Family support or something. And there was a location that a woman had created that was purely for new moms. And she had different classes and different, mommy and me things. And it turned out to be an amazing location for her. So try different things. Now, how do you know a location is good? Okay. First thing is go to their website and see if they offer classes. If they offer classes, then, sorry, I'm going to plug this in. Then you know that they have a room where you could teach. So that's a good sign. Even if they don't have a room, though, still it could be okay. But like a chiropractor's office can be super tiny and not going to work. Although you really only need enough mats for like 6 people. So it's pretty small. So I would say 6 is really good to start with. If a chiropractor, though, offers classes in, the Weber technique for back pain, then they have some kind of space. So that's good. The second thing you want to make sure of is it's not a franchise, a city organization, or a big bureaucracy. So why is that? We in LA, we have this boutique called Art of Breastfeeding or something like that. That's a different one. Something about breastfeeding. Oh, the pump station. And it's all over the place. So I've had many people say, what about the pump station? So we tried it in several different locations. What happens is you go in, you say, hi, I'm a prenatal yoga teacher in the neighborhood. And I was wondering if I could talk to someone about maybe partnering up and offering classes together. So you don't want to make it sound like I'm looking for a space. Can you do me the favor of considering letting me use your space? It's not that. It is a huge boon to them that you have chosen them as a possible location for what you're doing. So make sure to frame it that way in your head. And if you want to to do a Ma Yoga class, which is a local class where you're working with us. And just right off the bat, I'll tell you, there's a split of 60, 20, 20, where you get 60%, we take 20%, your location gets 20%. And we do all the customer service and tech support and everything. It's not anything I make money on, but I do really like supporting people. And a lot of yoga teachers haven't done a lot of the business end of things. So, and we have it all set up like an assembly line, so we're happy to do it. Anyway, but the point is that if you were doing that, you would say, I'm part of a organization that does all the booking and buying and scheduling and customer service. Can I have her get in touch with you? But if it's you, then you would try to talk to the manager. And with us, we talked to the manager and she was like, yes, that sounds amazing. Let's do this. I just need to talk to you, blank. Okay, boom. Then we talked to blank. Yeah, that sounds possible. I just need to go to blank. It goes up and up and up to different desks until finally it gets to the top. And we are going for a revenue share rather than paying rent. And that person at the top says, I need to know how much money is coming in every week. So you've now wasted several months of your life. So my recommendation is make sure that you're talking to the decider. And you know that it's not a big bureaucracy. We're looking for non-yoga studios. Now, I have nothing against yoga studios. The problem is they have a big overhead. And so they're not necessarily going to be able to pay you what you could make if you're on your own. So we've had yoga studios be Ma Yoga locations and just allow us to take care of it all. Because like the owner had gone through the program and loved the training, but usually I would say avoid it. You can also teach for a studio, but they're going to decide when you teach, you know, have some say in what you're teaching. They're going to pay you some kind of a minimum, like maybe $35 or something. And then that's kind of it. Like if it's over $8, you might get $2 a head or something, but prenatal classes never get that big. So you're going to be making that forever. Whereas if you're doing it for yourself, there's no ceiling. Of course, it takes a long time to build and you're doing all the marketing, not a yoga studio, but over time it will, and you will potentially have, you know, 5, 10 people average in your class. And let's say they each have a 5 series and your class costs $20 for a single and $15 if you buy 5, right? So that's $75. You're paying 20% to your location if you can get that, which is pretty good. So that's $15 to them. So you're getting $60 per class for 5 people. For 10 people, it's 120, and so on and so on. So it can really be something. It can definitely contribute to your income over time, but it's like changing the landscape. It takes a long time. Basically, you need like people coming to your class, they love it, they have their baby, their sister gets pregnant, they tell their sister. That's been a year already, right? So, but then exponentially it grows. So it just has to be, again, something that's fairly easy for you to do. You enjoy it, whether there's 1 person or 5 people, it connects you into that feminine wisdom, power, and nurturing energy. All right. I talked a little bit about size. Fit 6 mats. That's a great place to start. Believe me, if you have the problem of like, oh my God, there are people waiting at the door, which we have had, you can start looking for a new location. Now, when do you teach in this location? So, because they're going to ask that right off the bat. Well, wait, so, well, we're open till 6. So ideally, you would create a trusting relationship with them where they would give you the keys. And you would then come in the evening and set up, maybe push some couches aside, teach your class, clean up, make it exactly how they want it, lock up and go. So some people may be into it, some people maybe not so much, but that's what you're going for. Now, sometimes you can teach during the day. Let's say it is a boutique, but they have a classroom in the back. any place that has a room. If it's a birth center, you might have a classroom to teach in, right? But if they're having a birth, you can't teach and you have to cancel. So that could happen, right? And we've done that. It's not ideal. It depends how many births they have, but if you're having to cancel every other time, basically the best thing you can do to grow your mama circle is be consistent and show up. And so when you have to cancel a lot, it makes people go, oh, I'm not even sure it's happening, so I'm not gonna, so it's a challenge. But there are birth centers where you can do it even if there's a birth going on. It just depends how big they are. Evenings are good because pregnant women work, and most yoga studios don't like to give up their prime evening slots for prenatal classes because they're kind of small. So you will be setting yourself apart right away and benefiting a lot of people if you can do it in the evening. You can also kind of crisscross them, show up when they're leaving, and then lock up when you're done. It is a win-win-win when it works. They benefit because people are finding out about their services. We have a location agreement that kind of lists out all the different issues that might arise. So right off the bat, you can say, how do you want me to leave it? What's the security system? How do you want me to deal with subs if I'm sick? All of those things. But you will be putting their information on your website. Even having a link to their website from another website helps their search engine optimization. So, okay, so that's what you're going for. And that's what it can be. And just know that it's a huge benefit for them. Another benefit is that it's a service that they're offering their community, which a lot of people are in the birth world, not because they want to be rich, right? If the first thing they say to you is, how much rent will you pay? That's a red flag, because they're probably, it's not going to work, because that's their main motivation. I don't blame them. They might, be struggling, but they're not going to make a lot of money. So if you give them 20% and you have 2 people showing up and one person, it's their first free class, and the other person is paying $15, they're getting $3. So they need to understand that, the way I frame it sometimes is you're going to get a lot of free marketing. You're going to get some wonderful people coming through your door, so they know what you do and where you are. And you're going to be able to offer this service for your community. I'm going to do social media and stuff like that. And at some point, you'll even get some money. So you can kind of frame it like that. As it grows, they will. All right, step 3, agreement. So you got to sign something. I wouldn't go crazy about the whole legality stuff. My brother is a lawyer, and I've learned so much from him. And it's so weird because outside the law, we go, oh, the contract has to be perfect or they're going to sue me. But when you're really an intelligent lawyer, you know that the contract goes in the drawer. The more important thing is the understanding you have with people, right? And the relationship and the connection. So my recommendation is send them weekly emails, or at least monthly when you pay them their rent. Give them pictures, give them updates, tell them stories, let them feel that they're part of what you're doing. Because that relationship obviously is going to be one of the most important for you in your mama circle. And so you want to nurture it. You want to water it like a garden. But an agreement is good because it does get everything clear. How they want you to clean up and lock up. Also, your revenue share. So what we did was 60-20-20. You can try for 80-20. You might want to go 70-30. It's up to you. You can start at 80-20 and then do that. You want to kind of do the math, however much you want to charge in your area. If you are a certified Ma Yoga instructor, you should charge at the highest end, because you have a lot of expertise and you are going to customize it, and that is worth a lot. So in New York, it would be probably $35. In upstate New York, it may be closer to 20. So you just got to kind of see, and also, turn inward. Maybe you're just starting out. You can start out a little lower. You should feel comfortable with what you're doing. And if starting is making you excited, then, then you're going to get what you want, which is starting, even if they're only paying 12 or something. Okay. One other thing about your agreement is to, figure out times, and stuff like that. But you want to also put out there that as you grow, you could add a third, you could work toward 3 classes. We considered a complete location, 2 prenatals, and a mom and baby. The prenatals were generally in the evening. The mom and baby, sometimes they were in the morning. Afternoons sometimes did really well. You want to wait till you have enough pregnant women who know you and want to come back with their baby, and then you can set up your mom and baby. Sometimes we have people doing combination classes during the day. You can try that as well. I find that pregnant women kind of want to have their own space. So they only come once, and then they go to the prenatal class. But you can make it a combo, just if people are like, it's easier for me to go during the day, I'll check it out. And then they like it and they come to the nighttime prenatals. Okay. And step 4 is your website. So I know I said that you don't need like a brilliant, in-depth, brochure website. But you do need something, because this is our business card in today's business world. You can go to Upwork.com and get someone to create a single page website for you for probably $100. You can join the Ma Collective and come to our monthly business support, and I will take you step by step. I'll just tell you the next step. You go off and do it, and you come back, I'll tell you the next step. It's not that hard. You can do it over time. You don't need it to be complete, but you do need a place where people can get the information about your class. So, yeah, a website is the best way to do that. Now, how do people sign up? A friend of mine has a Zoom class, and it's not on her homepage. So you have to be interested enough to go searching for the class. But it basically says, here's my PayPal link, minimum donation $10. Here's the Zoom link. Here's the schedule. That's it. So that's the simplest way. Here's my schedule. Here's the address, and then, please bring minimum $15 cash. So you could totally set it up that way. Problem is, you don't know who signed up or if anyone's coming, so you have to go to your location. So that's a little annoying. If you have a way for people to schedule with you and nobody's scheduled, then you just don't go. How do you do that? Well, there's booking and buying software. Mindbody is the main one. It's expensive, but they have cheaper ones now. So you can look around. I use Wellness Living, and you get $500 signing bonus for them. They're on the expensive side. It's like $125 a month. So, but you can find it for cheaper, but not that much cheaper. So it is kind of expensive. Okay. You're going to need a way for people to find your website. That is called search engine optimization. It sounds very complicated, but all it means is, how does Google know what you do? So you're going to use these keywords in order for somebody to be like prenatal yoga in Austin, Texas, or they're in Austin, Texas. So they say prenatal near me, prenatal yoga near me. And then Google goes, who's near her, who has prenatal yoga on their website? Boom. They find you, your page shows up. It's more complicated than I'm making it out to be. you probably, again, want to go to upwork.com and find someone to help you do that search engine optimization or SEO. But once you're established, you come up on that, front page, and that's great. You definitely, it really works. So please feel free to put questions below, but if they're sort of in depth, like I have this website, but it's, I don't know, on Wix, and I'm not sure, like, come to office hours, sign up for the Ma Collective. If you're a trainee, you get the same price as the regular membership. So just reach out and we have resources for you. The last step, we are on the last step, step 5, which is sharing about you. Now, I could give 6 sessions on marketing, but I'm not going to. I am just going to sum it up by saying we are yogis and we have different values from a lot of the marketers out there. And take time to reflect on all the ways that you market yourself and make sure they align with who you really are and what you really believe. So I spent a lot of years listening to a lot of marketing people doing kind of somewhat manipulative techniques like big red button and sign up now and all that stuff. And I really regret it, because in the past years, I've just really shifted into making social media and marketing my classroom as well. It's all just a big classroom. It's not different. I'm not trying to get people to sign up and to pay me money and to do this or that. I'm just sharing, right? And the same way we would share with our yoga students, we're going to share on social media, something inspiring, something educational, something that's helping you, something you're struggling with. All of the things. Don't do it for another reason. Do it just simply because you're here to share your gifts with the world, and that's what's going to help uplift people, right? And it turns out that you'll create these relationships with people who might not be the ones to come to your class, but they tell their pregnant friend about you, right? So we can't know how that karma is going to go around, but it's very important to put it out there, to put yourself out there. That's how your mama circle will grow. And the second thing I would say is, in order to do that, we need to create structure in our lives. So many of us kind of follow, a flow, a feeling. We feel our way forward. We sense what's right, all of that stuff. And that is really important. But remember, in the yoga teaching, the feminine needs the masculine channels to flow through. We have to create channels in our day, in our life, for the good stuff to flow through, for what we want to happen. If we don't, life is going to take us this way and that. So what are the ways that you will be sharing yourself? A video on YouTube every week, a blog every week, a post on Instagram every week or more, whatever it is, have it in your calendar. Respect your calendar. You would respect it if someone else told you to do it, right? If you were working for someone and they said, you got to do, my social media work at this time, you would be like, I'll do it. Sure. I'm not going to argue with that. Honor yourself in the same way. It's work, right? That you've committed to and that you want to do. So this is the same concept that we use on the mat, stability before freedom. If we're just stretching, if we're just expanding, if we're just reaching for things, we're going to hurt ourselves and we're not going to get where we want to be. We want to integrate. We want to create the safe boundaries. We want to stabilize first. Otherwise, like this, the weak link, our joints that are going to give way. right? So it's the tasks that we don't love doing that will fall by the wayside unless we create a structure for them. And every once in a while, make your offer, right? So you have your social media where you're sharing, and then you're super clear and you say, I don't know if you know this, but I teach a prenatal class. If you or someone you know is pregnant, please send them my way. Instead of that bait and switch where we start sharing about something and then we realize, or we're watching a video and we're learning stuff, and then all of a sudden we realize we're being sold to, make it clear and separate the two. And you can say, at the end of a post or whatever, if you want to join me for my class, it's here, especially if your first class is free. The other thing I want to come back to, and this is to wrap it up, is the funnel. If you do take the prenatal certification, you do need to be planning to be certified, but once you've done your mentorship, you can apply to teach on our platform. It becomes part of your funnel. So you'll get a lot of people who are not local, but you can also get people who are local, and you can tell people who are local to take that with you in between, right? So it's another way you can be offering your unique goodness to the world, helping make the world a better place, one mama at a time. Thank you for watching. Please share in our community any questions you have, any thoughts, and I look forward to helping you with your mama circle. One more thing. So somebody asked a question which reminded me of when I first started teaching. So I was teaching at a yoga studio, City Yoga in Los Angeles, and I was teaching Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11. And I was getting 2, maybe 3 people feeling really bad about things. Now I know that that's actually not bad at all. It's fine for prenatal. But I met with the owner and I said, like, basically, if you want to fire me, you can. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm not that good at this or something. And I told her, so we're only getting 2 or 3 people. And she said, well, why don't we add another class? And I said, what are you talking about? That's so weird. We added a Saturday and boom, it started being 5 or 6. So it's hard to explain, but there's something about, there's the obvious, right? If somebody misses one, they go to the next. And that way it does become part of their life. You want to become part of their ritual. If it's only on Tuesday, they miss Tuesday and then they're out of town and it's just like gone, So the more classes you offer, the more times opportunities people have to join you. But also there's this energetic kind of spiritual thing of just basically saying to the universe, we are serious. Like, I am here for it, and I'm going to be here for it. And I'm going to have that time allotted in my schedule. So again, like, you might want to start with one just because there's a lot of stuff to get going. I didn't mention props, buy enough for 3 people. So you want to buy mats, Mexican blankets. I have the list. If you want to just ask me, I can email it to you. Mexican blankets at Amazon are like $15. Essential. 2 blocks per person. And then bolsters are really expensive, but buy a couple. And they're just really wonderful for Shavasana, for restoratives, even for forward bends to prop them up on the blocks. And then just, you don't have to invest a lot of money in your new prenatal class. That would cost you maybe $150, $125 if you bought the 2 bolsters and everything else for 3 people. But commit to investing the money you do make into more props for a while. Once you get to 6 to 8, you're done. I mean, you're fine for a long time, maybe a year, maybe more. So, yeah. So if you have one class, you're working on buying those things, you're working on your website, you're working on getting your email list together, which I did not talk about. You definitely want to be sending an email to everybody through MailChimp or Constant Contact or Aweber or ActiveCampaign. all of these I help you with in the Ma Collective. So please join me and I'll just give you your next step. I hope it's not too complicated. I tried to get everything in here. So enjoy. Thank you.